What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad life choices, going over to scoresandodds.com where you got picks from me, Mincy, Daniel, all the greats. Plus, you get access to our nice little prop shopping tool where you can see exactly what we have projected for each individual prop, plus where the best lines are. And most importantly, you got access to Grant's Action Lounge. What is Grant's Action Lounge? Well, it's my Discord where I'm throwing in all my picks each and every single day so you can get them in before the lines end up moving. Just go to scoresandodds.com/Discord. Just threw it into the chat there. We got football. We got baseball, not baseball. We got football. We got basketball. Had a decent weekend. If you're in the Discord, you made a ton of money. Went 11-0 on Saturday, and then the bets that we put on the show on Friday. Not too well on Sunday, but overall, still making decent money this month. We got some decent bets here. So we're just going to start off with football. First off, Baker Mayfield over 188.5 passing yards, minus 115 over at Betfred and over at DK, I believe. I hit it on both of them there. Really simple. Baker looked pretty solid overall in his first outing with the Rams. Should have more time to get entrenched of the offense. It is a tough matchup going up against the Packers, but they're likely to be trailing there, meaning that they're most likely going to be passing the ball a decent amount. So I like the over there. I also like the under on Baker Mayfield's 10.5 rushing yards, minus 105 over at DK. I think it's moved to minus 110. Still like it at that line. Baker Mayfield since the beginning of last season, I think, has only hit the over in this in 7 out of 22 spots here, so hitting the under at a pretty massive rate. I like it. Karen Williams over 17.5 rushing yards, minus 105 over at DK. Only got 3 rushing attempts last week, while Malcolm Brown being in the mix there is probably going to muddy the water a little bit. Don't really know how much workload he's going to get. He did have over 17.5 rushing yards last week. I think this line has gotten a little bit too low, even though I've been hitting the under on it in recent weeks. I think the over is probably the better move here, going up against a little bit of a funnel defense in the Packers. So like that one. Last up, Tutu Atwell over 35.5 receiving yards, minus 110 over at FanDuel. Baker was throwing the ball a ton the last outing, 9 targets, 5 receptions, had 5 and 2. The week prior, the snap rate has gone up a decent amount. He's heavily entrenched in this offense, 35.5 receiving yards, probably too low of a number. Let's get to some basketball here. We got Donovan Mitchell over 28.5 points, minus 125 over at WinBet. I think it's moved to 29.5. I'm still fine with it there. Realistically, he's going up against the Jazz. Well, Jazz are pretty good at handling perimeter defense. Overall, this number is a bit too low. He's having 29.5 on the season. It's a revenge game, fast-paced matchup here, or pace-up matchup going up against the Jazz. 28.5 is just too low. And then I did something weird here. I went with the under on Jared Allen rebounds at 10.5. I went with the over Evan Mobley at 9.5, minus 106 at FanDuel for Mobley, minus 110 over at Bet Rivers for Jared Allen. Allen averaging less than this in the season. We currently have projected for 9.5 rebounds. Number's just a bit too high. And then for Mobley, I just like him in the spot here. Should do pretty well. 9.5, a little bit too low. The number that one probably should be at 10.5. So did that. James Harden under 2.5 3-pointers made. You can get this at minus 119 over at Bet Rivers. James Harden, we currently have projected for Harden. Bet Rivers also has the same line as Barstool, so if you have Barstool, not Bet Rivers, that's fine. We have projected for 2.22 3-pointers made in the spot. You can get a minus 120 over at PointsBet. He's hit the over in the last 4 or 5 matchups, but overall this line's a little bit high looking at the course of the season. I just like the under. Yeah, slower paced match. Toronto's a good defensive team. Don't see him hitting the over. Also, really like this one. Paolo Banchero under 1.5 3-pointers made, minus 125 over at Betway. He's hit this in each of the last 4 games. Prior to that, he hit the under in 16 out of 24 games so far this season, hitting the under at a pretty massive rate. So just recency bias for how he's done over the last few games. Easy under. Franz Wagner, under 1.5 3-pointers made. I get this wrong every time, so do what you will, but I just keep hitting it. Numbers are kind of pointing towards him hitting the under, and it just hasn't been happening pretty much anytime I bet it. He has hit the under in the last 2 games. He's the under in 5 out of 10 games this month, but overall, like this under. Zion Williamson, under 38.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 106 over at Bet Rivers, and under 39.5, minus 122 at FanDuel. I think that number has moved down to 38.5. Gets a tough matchup versus the Bucks. Bucks giving up the 22nd most points in the paint this month or the season. So well below average amount of points in the paint. Likely going to get Giannis defense. I really like the under here in this spot. Valanciunas probably going to need a decent amount in this game here with Brook Lopez and Giannis. Over 8.5 rebounds, minus 125 win. Might still be able to get there, but I think most spots has moved it up to 9.5. Jordan Clarkson, over 3.5 assists, one of my favorite bets on the board, minus 114 at FanDuel or Bet Rivers. We currently have him projected for 4.5 assists in the spot. So way too low here. Massive discrepancies. Let's see, yeah, 4.52. Massive discrepancy in our our projections compared to the actual line. Hitting the over. The Anthony Melton over 19.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 120 at Betway or DK. It's the same one. Vassell over 20.5 points here, minus 110 over at Betway or at DraftKings. Again, both same lines there, so you can interchange them. But Vassell, we have project for 18.66. I fully disagree with that. Great matchup going up against Houston. He should be shooting a ton. I need to talk to projections. There's no way that's right. No way we should have him project for that. This is way too low of a line. I know that he hasn't been hitting this very much recently, but tough matchups going up against Cleveland, against Miami, against Phoenix. Portland, he just shot the ball terribly. He's been shooting the ball below average, but on the season, he's still a guy averaging close to 20 points per game and getting a massive plus matchup going up against Houston. I love the over on that bet. Also taking the over on Giannis, 31.5 points, minus 105 over Betway or DK. Been hitting a huge clip this season. Should be a close game going up against the Pelicans, like the over. Sabonis, over 6.5 assists. You can get that minus 122 over at FanDuel. I'll check where the line is on other spots. Sabonis, come on, load. Yeah, we project for 7.3 in the spot. Fast-paced matchup going up against Charlotte. Had 7 each of the last 2 games. He's hit the over in 4 at this number in 4 of the last 8 games, I think. But again, plus fast-paced matchup going up against Charlotte. This should be a massive scoring game here. Really like that. We'll go ahead and check out the parlay simulator and see what bets they have. Evan Mobley under 28.5 points, rebounds, assists. I'll check to see where the best line is for this one here. Mobley, go to the Cleveland game. Checking. Where is it? Cleveland. There it is. Cleveland versus Jazz. Let's see what the best line is and what Offshore thinks of it. Best line is minus 115 over at Betfred. I'll probably end up hitting that. Just have to hit it on my phone, but yeah, minus 122 is a little bit too high over it. Whatever it is, Ari likes the Jared Allen one. I already talked about that. Anthony Simons over or under 30.5 points, rebounds, assists for the Portland game. We'll check to see where the best line is for that one. It's loading. Simons, best line is minus 105 over points bet. Minus 1. Actually, that's at 29.5. I'm going to hit this one. Best line is minus 120 on the under over at FanDuel. You can get it minus 105 at 29.5 points, rebounds, assists. But I'm going with this. Let's check out Embiid rebounds under. I don't like that. I'm more towards the over on that. But Siakam over 6.5 rebounds. I don't hate that one. Let's go ahead and check where the best line is for that. Scrolling around, Siakam. Looks like the best line is over at FanDuel. I'll hit that one. Giannis under 10.5 rebounds. I don't know how I feel about that one. It is a tough rebounding matchup going up against Zion and up against J-Bell. Just overall a decent rebounding team in the Pelicans. Check it out here. See what best line is. Best line is plus 105 over at DK. I'm probably staying away from that one. Murphy under 3.5 rebounds. Let's see what the best line for that is. I'm likely to stay away, but plus 120 over at Bet365, plus 115 over at DK. Let's see. Rolling here. Bogdanovich, who's been just crushing recently. Under points, rebounds, assists. Don't quite understand. Or no, I'm thinking of the other Bogdanovich. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I might end up playing that one. Let's see what this line's at. 84. That's just a massive, massive number. Come on. Let's see. It's loading. We'll see. If you guys got any questions, go ahead and throw them into chat here. And I'll be able to answer them. Yeah. Eric Gordon over 1.5 threes. Let's see what we have projected for it. Gordon is loading. Again, Bogdanovich best line is at 28.5 minus 114 on the under. Get that over at Bet Rivers. It's drastically better line than what's it called? Yeah, we like the over on Eric Green. 1.5 3-pointers made. I'd roll with that. Probably will when we get to that game. Let's see. Dinwiddie under 16.5 points. That's one I hit fairly often. I'm going to roll with that one. Even in a solid matchup versus the Timberwolves. Generally get that at 15.5. Best line is over at DK minus 110. I'll head over to FanDuel because they're not going to let me give it too much over at DK. Lonnie Walker under points. That's another one that I've been hitting a decent amount recently. 14.5 is a bit too high. Best line is over at FanDuel. I'll hit that one. Murray over 1.5 3-pointers made. Really? Let me check that out. Kings Hornets. Best line is over at Zion under 27.5 points. I think the line's at 25.5 now. So if you have it at 27.5, take the under. Dame under 7.5 assists. Have not looked at that one. Yeah, really likes Murray here. I'll roll with that one. So yeah, we're gonna place all these bets. Really neat with Parlay IQ. You can just throw them in, and then boom, they're all over here. 240.19, 4.1. Max will let me get 130 for that one. 335.9. No. 335.9. Check out this one. 354. No, 354. Keep Murray. Let's see what we got on this one. 332. Boom. Let's throw in 1,300 in bets. Yeah, I'll be dropping on the action lunch here, but that's pretty much it. That's the show. Be back again tomorrow. Right out here. Bye, kids.